It is indeed a joy to have you in St. Patrick. Well, in
Thank you.
Sateas, put it that way, in
Thank you.
Sateas. Now, folks may say, Andre, ask him about it, and I'll say no. There will come a time when we'll have a conversation about it, and the it is the whole issue about the marijuana. But you've just come, so I can't ask you anything about that. So folks would have to understand that in as much I would like to question you, but I can't question you on that because you're just here, your feet just getting wet. I guess you're probably looking to see what is happening, how it is happening, how we can do different, how we're able to do better. How's that going though? Because that's the first thing an officer in charge will look at.
Yeah, well, it's my second full day of work at Sateas, and already I'm looking at the situation at Sateas to see whether or not we can make some meaningful changes, and the change would be to the benefit of the people we serve. Yes? So I'm looking at that, but I'm also looking at some in-house matters, because to serve the people and to satisfy the needs of the people, then we have to be in a position to do so. So I'm looking a lot about some in-house matters, get some training going, get some things organized, and then we will be better poised to serve the community.
I like that. So you're going to take care of in-house things before you even attempt to do anything.
Yeah, that's the way I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Because when you go out there, you're affecting the lives of people, and you can't do it anyhow. So you have to position yourself in a way to serve the people based on need. And to understand that, then you must understand your role as the officer. So when you enter a situation, you're going to interact with the community in a very positive way to affect their lives in that manner.
This is not the first outstation that you've been to. It is not the first outstation that you've been to and you are in charge. Spec, tell us, what are some of the things that when you get to outstation that you look forward to and you don't look forward to? What are some of the things?
One of the challenges that managing people. It's a challenge to manage people, especially a group of persons who come from different backgrounds, So this is a challenge, but I'm not expecting to have a lot of crime. That's foremost. So my first interaction with the community is to ensure that we reduce on the incidence of crime.
That's your first interaction with the community.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you would like, that you're bringing to the table, because different officers have different mindsets. We're not all the same, and different officers have different strengths. What would you say is your strength that you're bringing to Sateas Police Station?
My strength, I believe, I'm a people person. I love the community. I love to work with the community. And I would also want to see few arrests being made, especially among our young folks. I don't like people to enter the system. If I could do anything to ensure that they're not a part of the system, I would do that. So I would be leaning on the community a lot to help me find answers to the solution or to the problems that exist in the community, to ensure that we keep our young people from being part of the system.
So you're not coming in any mindset and saying, okay, fine, them in Sateas just behave so thing, so I come in and I go deal with them.
No,
you're not coming in that mindset.
I'm open because I'm not living in the community. So I am depending heavily upon the people in the community to just communicate with us. Let us know the problem, sit down and look at the problem, find the solution, and work together on the solution. Because when all is said and done, I am leaving the station to go home, but they are in the community, and they must have some say in how the community is organized and run. And so my take on this is that you have to get people involved in the management of the community. And sometimes some of the behavior that exists in communities is because the community accepts it in the first place. And then it becomes a problem to get rid of it. So we're trying to attack this problem before it escalate into something big.
It is really 91.9 FM. The time has now moved on to 24 minutes. I make it after the 9 o'clock hour, speaking to Inspector Nelson, who is now the officer in charge of the Sateas police station. And as if you would have joined us earlier, and if you're joining us now, to let you know that it is his second full day on the job. And Spec, I need to compliment you. Your second full day on the job, and you've hit it running in terms of your interaction with the media already, because you second day on the job and you're already at Real FM talking your business.
Well, as you say here, I want to keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and no better place to announce the arrival of an inspector on Real FM and let the community know that I'm here and what my intentions are.
I happen to know this because I overheard this. You can confirm or deny, sir. And it has to do with, I understand that there is another change. Are you at liberty to speak to another officer that is being transferred to a different location? Are you able to speak to that?
Nothing official.
Nothing
I
official.
don't have anything written
Okay.
or message coming from headquarters as yet. But just as how you're here,
Right. So we'll leave it like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
just leave it like that. So who here, they hear. we wouldn't mention any names or whatever.
No.
So if you heard, you heard. But I'm sure when you get the information that it is confirmed, if it is at all, you will convey that to us.
yes, because it would affect the community, and the community need to know what's happening with us. Yes, we're not a secret entity. We are quite open to questions and giving you the answers once it affects the community.
A couple of days ago, I think it was on Monday, I was standing at the front of the building, sir, and I saw a young lady dressed in the colors of the immigration department, who is also at your station here in Sateas. I knew that she was there, and I've been seeing all, but I think it was on Monday is when it really jumped at me. Andre, you have never congratulated this young lady, because I know her in the community.
Okay.
She's from St. Patrick's. And she grew up as a Sateas girl.
Okay.
And I'm like, Andre, you never did congratulate her. So I called her and I said, look, come. I said, my dear, congratulations. You've really made me proud to see you dressed in the colors of the immigration department, and to also have you based at
That's
the
Sateas.
Sateas police station. Tell me, what are the services available?
Okay.
And she says, I said, everything.
Okay.
Every service that you know about in relation to immigration is available there. If there's something that I cannot handle, then I'll have to send it on to the immigration department. But everything basically, if you want your passport done, you don't have to go to St. George's again. You can bring the information to me, and I will be able to do the
Process
necessary.
it. Yes.
Speak to that.
And that's good news, and this is happening right across the island, because it's expensive to go to town to just have your passport done. So management thought it best to bring the services to the community, and we have one in Gove, we have one in Sateas, we have in Grenville, yes, and so access to that kind of service is quite easy, inexpensive. You can just walk into the station and get their services done. And
But what I like about here, Nelson, is the fact that the young lady, she's not a full officer as yet.
Yeah.
But the fact that the RGPF has that level of confidence in a youngster, I mean, you guys must be complimented for that one.
Yeah, I'm proud of her and her behavior towards the job for the short time I'm being there. And I think she's quite open and she's approachable, that anyone could come in and do that. Though she's not an officer, but she's almost interested in everything that takes place in the station. She would assist wherever she can. And I'm very proud of her also.
Well, that is good. That is wonderful. Now, what are some of the things, if any, you've seen thus far that you believe that you would want to see in Sateas? I know we have a big challenge in relation to traffic. I know the busmen can be very challenging. What are some of the things that you would want to say to the busmen and other road users in the town per se at this time?
Well, as soon as I have an appreciation of how traffic run in Sotiers, and I've seen some already, there will be some changes, and I'm seeking the assistance or the cooperation of road users, especially the busmen, because I drive myself and I see what they do. And we would want to have a dialogue with them, the bus association, if there is one, and Gov. If not, I would still, I would still want to meet with them so that we can be on the same page going forward as to traffic in the town of Sotiers. And so there will be some changes.
Well, it's interesting to hear that, and interesting that you would say that you would like to meet with them. But may I suggest, sir, and I'm probably stepping out of my bounds here, and a person can be charged for telling the police how to do their work. But
No, we are open. We are open. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
But may I suggest, sir, that you also speak to or have conversation with the gentleman who is in charge of the roads officer.
Yes.
My reasoning here is that while you look at how the busmen use the roads, I believe it is a good thing to also look at how the roads are constructed and what improvements can be done.
Exactly.
So as to facilitate better
Yes.
road use.
Because if we want to make some changes as to the road users, then we have to deal with the problem that exists with the road. And that's a good point, and I will take it on board and seek to have that communication with that road officer.
What are you bringing to the table in relation to persons who use the road, driving that is, and they do not have the requisite license to drive? Maybe they don't have license at all. They don't have license to drive a bus, to drive a truck. They have a license to drive a car. They don't have license to drive a manual vehicle. They have license to drive an automatic vehicle. What are you telling them? What would you want them to know here?
But first and foremost, I'm looking at the bigger picture. This kind of behavior can cost a life or lives. And I would take that very serious. In as much as I want to educate people, which I would do, give education, the know-how, how to get things done, how to get the license, how to go about, yes, but it's not an excuse to drive on the road because we have a zero tolerance on this. And I would ensure that the persons on the street, those of whom I would send out, do what they're supposed to do.
Speaking of sending out, you have available to you some traffic wardens.
Yes.
Not necessarily in St. Patrick, but there has been the notion that the traffic wardens, while yes, experience is the greatest teacher, but they're used in so many other areas outside of traffic. How would you be able to relate to that in St. Patrick?
My understanding and my way of operating that traffic wardens, PLTF, will be used for that which they was hired for.
PLTF, that would be the
Pre-Deal Larceny Task Force.
okay, the pre-deal Larceny Task Force.
Only used for which they was hired for.
But if you needed to use one quickly to help you with something, fine, yeah?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But there would not be a detail for them as for the general station.
Okay.
If a need arises and I need to use somebody, I would use them. However, apart from that, they would be doing what they was hired to do. Traffic and PLTF work. That means with the farmers.
Okay.
So I would again meet with every department in the station to reassure them, to give information and to redirect and to ensure that we accomplish the task for which we were hired to do. And that is my goal where traffic warden is concerned.
Speaking to your station in terms of resources, are you satisfied that you have most of all the resources you need, or do you think, without even saying what they are, do you think that there's a need for more resources at the police station?
There's a great need for more resources, human and material. Okay. Yes, and I'll be looking at it and make some recommendations as I go. But for now, I would look at what I have and see how best I can use those that I have for the good of the community.
Mr. Martin is known on the western side of the island for the amount of energies that he would have put into Priti Alasni.
Yes.
That's where most people, when you talk Priti Alasni on the western side, everybody's seeing Commissioner of Police.
Yes.
That is what they see.
I've been experiencing that right now because most people would go back to that era. And
when they say that
yes.
it was the best.
Yes.
Right? With Mr. Martin there. Then he was sergeant and then moved on to inspector at that particular point in time. Do you believe that you will be able to bring that sort of a vibe again to Priti Alasni Task Force in St. Patrick? And we not seen, and I'll be straight up with you, we not seen them most of the time walking the tongue, most of the time assisting with, rightly so, assisting with traffic control when children want to cross the street. But knowing that, hey, as you say, they do what they're being paid to do, patrolling the inner villages, patrolling the highlands where there are roads in order to deal with what they're supposed to be dealing with.
But there are some new directives as it relates to Priti Alasni. And you would see a marked change where Priti Alasni is concerned and what they're supposed to do. You would see that because the new trust and the main focus should be the farmers.
Okay.
And they have an existing farm watch going on, and I want to see that move from one stage to the next, but the interest is the farmers, and you can't be in the station or on the street and telling me that you have any connection with farmers. You have to be where the farmers are. You have to know what they're producing, the readiness of that, and ensure that you liaise with the farmers, so when they're not there, that's when you're moving. Yes? And it doesn't mean only in the daytime. They also have to do night operations and ensure that the farmers get their produce and realize whatever their intentions are when they started in the first place.
So the change you're speaking of is not necessarily a change here in Sateers or by that extension St. Patrick's. It's a national change.
It's a national change.
And that will be something that's coming from
right up.
From right up.
Yes.
And how soon can we expect to see that?
That is already in motion.
Oh, it's already in motion. So it's just a matter of implementing.
If we are not seeing it in Sateers, I would be disappointed. However, you would not be disappointed for long. Because as soon as next week, I'm having a general meeting tomorrow, as soon as next week, you'll see some movements.
In Sateers?
Yes.
Inspector, what's your first name again?
Roy
Nelson. How could I forget my brother's name? Good morning. Good morning to you folks once again, wherever you are and you are viewing or you are listening to Real FM Radio, speaking to Inspector Nelson of the RGPF, attached now to the Sateers Police Station. Inspector Rodney has informed me that he is proceeding on some much needed vacation. And as a result of that, the RGPF has moved Inspector Roy Nelson. And he's no stranger to Sateers, or to St. Patrick for that matter, and he had the unique opportunity of working in St. Patrick, but being responsible to the Eastern Division, meaning being responsible to Grenville. That is one of the things I can't understand. He's smack bang in the middle. He's in Hermitage. And he's not responsible to Sateers. He's responsible to the Eastern Division. I don't know how they did that one, but you know the police, they do things different at times.
Well, however short the stint was, my first voyage to Sateers, I did enjoy myself. I made friends.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Good. Now, I know it's different times now. And when the times were good, we saw the implementation of the Boys Club. It's different now because of persons being able to congregate and stuff like
Yes.
that, it's a bit of a challenge. So we may not see that. There was the fitness club,
Yes.
but again, because of persons being able to congregate, we may not see that. But Inspector, what is alarming here is that these two ventures and others were very important when it came to one thing, community policing.
Okay.
However, Boys Club and the fitness club did not stop with COVID. It stopped before that. How and what do you, so remember, what do you intend to do so as to revive not those two ventures, but the umbrella, community policing? How are you going to do that?
Well, I'm happy that you asked this question because the no trust in policing going forward, or the no trust in policing is community policing. And I am surprised to hear that Boys Club is down.
It's gone.
So that will be back. Notwithstanding that we are in this pandemic situation, but we have to do what we have to do because we still see that the difficulties, the challenges with our young people exist, and we have to approach it in some ways. And for your information or for the information of the community, that the Boys Club is going to be back. We have also area officials where one person is responsible for a particular area, and whatever takes place in the area, so that person will go into that particular area and become part of that area and work with the community to ensure that we take care of the problems in that community. So that is an addition to what we do for community policing. And I just want to make something clear, because most people have the notion that community policing is something that we do. And I also have to change the mindset from within. It's not something that you do. It's a philosophy, it's an attitude, it's a way of life. Whether you're working or not, the whole idea of policing going forward is community policing, and you cannot just have the mindset that I'm detailed to do it. Whether off duty or on duty, your whole focus should be community policing. Become part of that community and ensure that we work together with the community to address the challenges faced by the community, because we can't do it alone. And I believe that the community have what it takes to take care of the problem that exists in the community. But we have not tapped into that resources most times. And we go in, and sometimes our intervention make things worse. But if we partner with the community, and they tell us what the problem, they tell us how to solve it, then we work together. And I believe that we all can be satisfied at the end.
What are you going to do? Because one of the things that I realize is that there are a lot of people who walk. I see them walk in the mornings, I see them walk in the evenings. And as I said, there was a thriving fitness organization which helped with community policing.
Right.
And I don't think it's something that you have to do every day. You can do it once a week or whatever. Are you going to look to bring that back?
This one will be back. In fact, it is already existing on the western side. Not long ago, we had a walk from Victoria, from Union Police Station to Victoria. And it is one of the things that is embedded within community policing. And we also realize that officers are not taking care of themselves.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay,
And
I got you.
so the trust is that everyone should be involved in some kind of health activities, whether exercise or eating right, or taking out of the stomach. Yes. So, because to serve the community, we must be healthy.
Well,
And so some form of exercise or some form of sport club will be seen visibly in the Sutter's Policing District.
one of the things I must point out to you in relation to this fitness is that the officers who did it, who led the thing, they are super fit guys. And I think that was one of the problems. Because they were super fit, they expected everybody to be super fit.
Yeah.
And they were doing things that some people like, what
Yeah,
the heck?
yeah.
I can't handle this. And they would, I remember seeing them going on same walks.
Yes.
And the pace they were going at, you could not expect everyone
Everyone
to
to
keep
go
up to that pace.
Yeah.
And at one point in time, I know because I heard people say, well, they ain't care about me. You understand? They ain't care about me. They only care about the people and them who could, keep up to their pace.
I know.
How are you going to deal with that?
Well, in everything, I like the education part of it. Yes, because you have to be able to work with the slowest person. It's not about you. It's not about being first. It's about getting the outcome that you want from everyone involved. It's a team effort, and you have to be able to work with the slowest person. And so the thing is not about endurance and being there first. It's about getting the mindset of the community of everyone involved to change. So we'll be looking at diet. We'll be looking at exercising. We're taking a holistic approach about health, and that is on the front burner, especially where officers is concerned. But we want to ensure that we merge our effort with the community.
Well, that's good. I'm really, really happy to hear that and that means that a number of people will at this time look forward to returning, because there are those who dropped out because they felt like lesser beings, not being able to match up with these super fit cops.
And what I would like to see also, I know that we have persons within the community that could take that sort of lead role. So we don't have to depend also on the police mostly to run that organization or that thing. We want, if you are able, we want to bring you in and just come and give your support. And if we are able to do it in Sardis by ourselves, independent of an officer at the head, we would do that.
Well, there is a gym in Sateas, and it may be a situation or maybe a good thing to probably seek out the management of that gym to find out, hey, can you partner with us so as to make this thing a reality? Because you may have one or two persons who run your gym who are pretty fit and who know of these aerobic exercises that can be used. And it might be something, that can work.
And I believe that that's the way to go, because we might be asking people to do things that is not good for their health. And so if we have somebody that knows about it, then I think that would be a plus for us.
Most definitely. It's real. It's 91.9 FM, 10 minutes nowadays before the 10 o'clock hour. Time flies, especially when you're having fun with good friends that you've not seen for quite a while. We've spoken to fitness. We've spoken to Priti Elasny. And one of the things that stood out for me this morning when you made your opening remarks is that you're not here to arrest people. You're here to cause people not to be arrested, not to break the law. Speak to that.
As I've said, the new trust is community policing. And it's never about arresting people and putting them into prison and come out with the same mindset. Community policing is geared at preventing the crime before it happens. And if you are in the prevention mode, it's never about arrest. I'm not saying there would not be any arrest going forward, but we want to do that less, especially for something petty. If you could only get to the minds of that individual and ensure that his mindset towards crime and delinquency change, that brings more satisfaction to me and I believe to the community. Because what can happen if we just contemplate on arresting, bring to court, and it brings more hardship on the individual, on the family, and the community, and that person could be a menace in society. We want to change that mindset. But we cannot do it alone. We want to be able to work with the community to ensure that we address the situation and the person that needs the help most. And I believe SATES have a lot of resources, especially human resource, where we can work together to address some of the issues that exist.
In Sateas, I believe that we have Let me rephrase that one because I want to get it right for you. Speak to us now about how because it cannot be a personal view. This has to be a
Yes.
view from the police force. The question I'm asking you about how the RGPF looks at understanding that possession of marijuana is an offense. It's still on the books. It's
Yes.
still an offense.
Yes.
But speak to us about your officers going by or your officers coming up on a person and that person is smoking a joint. How does the RGPF view this? Understanding, yes, that it is against the law. How does the RGPF view this? Are you at liberty to say?
But I don't believe I'm at liberty to because the rule remains the same. However, when you look at, and as I said earlier, let's be real. People will always smoke marijuana. It's an offense. Yes?
It is.
But based on circumstances,
The law can blink.
because you have the power to exercise discretion. And sometimes you have to figure out whether or not it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah? And I believe going forward, especially with the new trust of community policing, I believe if you communicate with that person and allow them to see the different side of what they're doing, I believe that we can make more inroads with that individual or individuals than just taking them to court for just one. Yeah?
So you're not saying that you wouldn't take them to court, but you're saying that the law can blink
Of course.
for
of
a
course,
minute
of course,
there
Of course.
in relation to a person having just one,
Of course.
as opposed to a man who have a bag.
With
That's
it-
a different story.
Yeah, and it is not automatic that you see a man with a weed arrest. A man cuts about your arrest. No, it's not automatic. You have the discretion to engage that individual.
All right, here's one from one of our viewers here. Morning, does the RGPF have in place a cadet program or plans for a cadet program where they can engage, recruit high school seniors and college students who are interested in future careers in law enforcement? It would be a nice way to involve the youth in the community policing to help reshape the sometimes negative view of the police in the community. These cadets can be involved in community policing events or activities. It's a sort of volunteer program for those interested in a career. A lot ahead
Yes,
there.
but we have an existing cadet corps in Grenada that is run by an ex-entity, and we only have the Police Boys Club that we believe, and it is mainly focused in primary school. And we believe if we give them the right start, when they move to secondary school, they can join the cadet corps and move on from there.
Okay.
But we don't have that system within the RGPF.
Here's another one. What can I do for somebody who is throwing smelly substance by my shop?
Okay, I believe that's a public health issue, but you can come by, you can report the matter, and we look at it together with the Ministry of Health to see what can be done.
Now that person brought up this about a shop, there is something that is it's a concern, not just in St. Patrick, but I think it's throughout the island. We have so many different parlors popping up here and popping up there and popping up everywhere. 99% of them do not have a liquor license. What are you saying to them?
That is on the front burner also.
Okay.
Liquor license and persons who just intent of building parlors, wherever they will. We'll be looking at that, especially we're looking at the licensing process. Some persons get temporary license from persons who have license to run their shops
Yeah.
under liquor license. So they would sign a document for someone to get a temporary, but that is not the case. If you have a liquor license shop and you want to take your business elsewhere for a short time, then you can get a temporary license to move on. But what you find, persons are being paid by others to sign a document so that others can get a temporary license to move on to another post so they can operate that business. We're also looking at that.
Well, I would want you to also look at, when you meet with your people up there, I'd also want you guys to take into consideration that while I believe, yes, people should have their license, but I believe that what should be looked at also is the rigors in terms of getting a license when somebody is trying to make a little living in a corner somewhere.
Yeah.
The rigors of getting that license, it can be so difficult, and the fact that license are issued at one particular period, like at the end of the year.
Yes.
So the middle of the year, I decide, okay, fine, I want to do this, and I can't sell a rum or beer, not before the end of the year legally. That I believe can be a bit of an issue, and
Yes.
I'm sure you guys will be looking into that.
Yes, because the law still caters for one having running water, toilet facilities to be qualified for a license, because it's not only the police aspect of it, but you have a health aspect of it. And we know what happens when persons consume alcohol. And if the facility is not in place, then you know what the area would look like or smell like. So that is a challenge, and that can be looked at another.
I believe and I know that it is a challenge, but here's what. Go down to the bus terminus.
Yeah.
There's adequate toilet facilities there and running water. But none of the booths on the terminus, none of them have been granted a license. And the reasoning behind it is that they do not have personal toilet facilities. When you look at the area, there's no way they can have personal, but public toilet facilities is less than 50 meters away. To me, dying is not something that the police can do, but it's just an observation that doesn't make sense.
Okay, I understand.
It's there, it's public, it's right there. Then hey, give them the license because it's right there.
Yeah, maybe
Unless you don't want alcohol sold on the compound, then say that. Say, look, we did not give you here for alcohol. We gave you here to sell food.
Right.
And that's
Exactly.
it. Bottom line. But you cannot have these people there and they can make $1 from the alcohol. Toilet facilities less than 50 meters away.
Well, I hope the powers that be listening, and if there's any way that they could,
I hope you tell them. Listen,
boy.
Nelson, it's kind of interesting. Your girl was here yesterday morning, Grant.
Okay.
She was here. Yeah, she came yesterday morning, and she came to do something that we have been speaking about since the station was at its first location. Remember we were talking infomercials?
Yes.
Grant came to do some yesterday, so you will hear some from the Eastern Division. So I'm challenging you now to get some going for Sates, for the Western Division. Get some going. Grant came here to record. She brought some people and they recorded. She's also looking at recording some more. Nabila is going to be in charge of the project. You want to do it, you call her up, you say, look, I've got a couple of people, wherever you want to take them from.
Yeah.
They can even be youngsters that you're working with.
Very well.
And you realize that they can read. You write the infomercial, you bring it in, we record it, put it together, put it out for you. That's our contribution to community policing.
I would take the challenge.
Well, you better, because you and Grant had to do it. It seemed that you couldn't get it done together. She has gone ahead of you.
And I know that she is very, interested in that part of it.
Yes.
So I'm happy that she gets started.
Yeah. Nelson, I thank you so very much for stopping by this morning. It's nice to have you. Welcome to Sates, and we look forward to working with you.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for having me in Sates. And I want to say that I'm available. Anyone wish to talk to me on issues of partnering with the police, I'm open. You can call, you can come in, no appointment needed.
Dr. Nelson, take care. Be good. Have a nice day.
You too, sir.
All right.